Hello, welcome to this Unreal Engine tutorial. I'm the Festmaster, and today we'll be taking a look at making bullet holes with the first-person shooter template. Just a simple bullet hole mechanic, leaving a dark circle wherever the projectile hits. Alright, so let's get started. The first thing we need to do is open up the first-person projectile. Where is it? Here we go. There's a couple things that we need to change in here. First, under the projectile movement, each of these can be changed to 5,000, and then if we scroll down under velocity, also change to 5,000. This is just to make the projectile faster and more like an actual bullet, and for the same reason, dropping the gravity scale to 0, and also the bounciness to 0 as well, or actually 0.01, a small amount of bounciness. And then the next thing we need to do is disconnect the destroy actor from the event hit, and actually search for, well, with the projectile component selected, on projectile bounce, and hook up the destroy actor to that. And then we want to search for tick, and then a distance away, because we will be adding more code to the projectile bouncing soon. We want to, off of the delta seconds, search for float plus float, and then off of this second pin, promote this to variable, call it timer. When we compile that, we want to make sure that timer is 0, and then set timer. And then off of the set, search for a greater than. So if timer is greater than, and then we can promote that to another variable as well and call this lifetime. And then when we can compile that, we can set the lifetime to be about 1.5 seconds. And this is basically how long the bullet will be alive and not hitting anything before we delete it. Otherwise we'll have bullets that last forever if you shoot them into the sky, which is not a good idea. Connect a branch, and then just another destroy actor. So if we can compile that, and then play it, we'll notice that the bullets go straight and don't fall. They also go a little bit faster, which is fairly handy. One other thing that we need to change is the multiplication of the velocity. We need to change to, I believe, 20, just to make them have less of an impact and be more like an actual bullet. And then next step is to import the texture that you want to use for your bullet impact. I'm going to be using one that I made, just called bullet hole, and I'll open it up. It should look something like this, an opaque center thing that looks like a bullet hole and a transparent background. And so with this, if you right click on it, you need to create a material. And then opening this up, there's a couple things we need to do. We will need 2 multiply nodes and a 1 constant with its value set to 1. And we want to plug the opacity level into the top of both of these. This first one we want to set to about 1.5, and this one only exists because of the nature of my texture, and that needs to be plugged into opacity. We'll plug one into the bottom one, and then plug that into the roughness. And then selecting the main material thing, we want to change it from a surface to a deferred decal, the blend mode to translucent, the decal blend mode to stain, and save that. And then once it eventually saves, you can drag this out into the level and see an example of what will be a much smaller than this bullet hole. A better example would be to scale it to about there and just hit game so that you can see what it'll look like in game. And then the last thing we'll need to create is another blueprint class based on actor called bullet hole. And I just added a BP onto the end to prevent naming conflictions. And then we need to add a what is it called? A decal component to it. And then we want to change this to be our bullet hole material, and change the decal size to be about 10/20/20. And then if we compile that and then go into the event graph, delete those, and then off of tick we'll do basically the same thing that we did in the bullet. Do a float plus float, promote to variable, call this timer, compile and set it to 0, set the timer, do a greater than, promote this to a variable, call it lifetime, compile that, set that to about 5, a branch, and a destroy actor. What this does is it basically prevents the bullet hole from existing forever. And that will basically prevent bullet holes from building up and causing lag. So back in the projectile, there's some more code that we have to add to make it spawn bullets. So I'm just going to move the destroy actor up for now, and then off of the impact results, I'm going to break the hit result structure, and then we want to spawn actor from class. The class needs to be bullet hole BP. And then we can split the struct pin for the spawn transform, set the location to be the impact point. Then if we grab the impact point, we can find look at rotation, and then take the impact point, vector plus vector, and add the impact normal to that, and that goes into the target, and then this rotator goes into the spawn rotation. Then we can connect that up, and then off of this we want to attach to actor. The parent actor we want to be the hit actor, and the location, rotation, and scale rules we want to have keep world. And then once that is done, we can attach the destroy actor. Then if we go and play, we'll notice that the bullet holes are made. You'll also notice that since this is a physics object, the bullet holes actually stay on the physics object, as well as stay on the walls, and there they are vanishing. The reason they stay on a moving object is because of this attached actor. It just makes their transform relative to whatever it is that they hit. So if that moves, they move with it, which is nice for when you're shooting physics objects. Anyway, that's how you go about making bullet holes.